Wars have been a constant throughout human history, leaving behind a trail of destruction and devastation. However, some wars stand out in their brutality and loss of life, earning the title of the deadliest wars in history. These wars have not only shaped the course of nations and civilizations, but also changed the world as we know it. In this video, we will be examining the top 10 deadliest wars in history, delving into the causes, consequences, and lasting impacts of these brutal conflicts. Chinese Civil War. The Chinese Civil War, a pivotal event in the 20th century, was a protracted conflict between the Nationalist Party, Kuomintang or KMT, and the Communist Party of China, CPC. It unfolded in two main phases, punctuated by an uneasy truce during the Second Sino-Japanese War. The first phase, 1927 to 1937, saw sporadic bouts of warfare as both factions vied for control over China's vast territories. The conflict resumed in 1946 after the defeat of Japan and lasted until 1949. The war culminated in the Communist Party's victory and the establishment of the People's Republic of China on the mainland, while the nationalist government retreated to Taiwan. The human cost was staggering, with millions of casualties resulting from both combat and the widespread famine and disease that followed in the wake of the war's destruction. The Chinese Civil War not only altered the geopolitical landscape of East Asia, but also set the stage for the Cold War dynamics that would define global politics for decades. Russian Civil War. The Russian Civil War, a pivotal conflict in the aftermath of the Russian Revolution of 1917, was characterized by a bitter struggle between the Red Army, supporting the Bolsheviks, and the White Army, comprised of monarchists, capitalists, and other opposing groups. Spanning from 1917 to 1922, this multifaceted war included direct military conflict, guerrilla warfare, and widespread social upheaval across the former Russian Empire. The war was not only a battleground for domestic forces, but also saw intervention by several foreign powers, each aiming to influence the outcome in favor of their interests. The toll of the Russian Civil War was immense, leading to significant loss of life among combatants and civilians alike, with casualties estimated in the millions. The conflict resulted in massive social and economic disruption, contributing to a devastating famine in 1921. The Bolsheviks' victory solidified the establishment of the Soviet Union, a major global power that would play a critical role in international affairs throughout the 20th century. The Russian Civil War thus marked a significant turning point, reshaping Russia's political landscape and setting the stage for the ideological clashes of the Cold War era. Taiping Rebellion. The Taiping Rebellion, which occurred from 1850 to 1864, stands as one of the most catastrophic civil wars in history. Sparked by the leadership of Hong Chou-chen, who proclaimed himself the brother of Jesus Christ, it aimed to overthrow the Tang dynasty and establish the Taiping Heavenly Kingdom. This massive uprising led to a profound loss of life, with estimates suggesting between 20 to 30 million people perished. The rebellion not only decimated populations, but also caused severe economic and social disruption, laying bare the vulnerabilities of the Tang dynasty, which would eventually collapse in 1912. An Lushan Rebellion. The An Lushan Rebellion, erupting in 755 AD and extending until 763 AD, was a devastating conflict that tore through the Tang dynasty, one of China's golden ages. Initiated by a general of the same name, An Lushan, the rebellion quickly escalated into a full-scale war that ravaged much of China. The insurrection was fueled by grievances over corruption in the Tang administration and the favoritism shown to court officials. This period of upheaval led to an unprecedented loss of life, with estimates suggesting that the death toll might have reached as high as 36 million people, making it one of the deadliest conflicts in human history. The An Lushan rebellion significantly weakened the Tang dynasty, leading to its decline and eventual fragmentation. It marked a turning point in Chinese history, illustrating the destructive potential of internal strife and the importance of stable, equitable governance. The rebellion also had a lasting cultural impact, influencing Chinese poetry, literature, and art for centuries to come, as artists and scholars reflected on the chaos and loss of the era. The Donggen Revolt. The Donggen Revolt, 1862 to 1887, also known as the Donggen Rebellion, was a significant uprising led by the Muslim Hui and other ethnic minorities against the Qing dynasty in China. This conflict, largely fueled by ethnic tensions, religious persecution, and heavy taxation, unfolded in the provinces of Shaanxi, Gansu, Ningxia, and Xinjiang. It was marked by its ferocity and the widespread atrocities committed by both sides. The revolt resulted in the devastation of vast tracts of land and led to the significant loss of life, with estimates of the death toll ranging from 8 to 12 million people. The rebellion exacerbated the decline of the Qing dynasty, highlighting the central government's inability to control its distant territories and manage the complex ethnic and religious diversity of its empire. World War I.
January 1916. 140,000 men were assembling for the attack.
In our wood, the front trenches will be taken in the first minutes.
For 3 hours, the German heavy guns. At 7 in the morning, the bombardment switched to a French line.
World War I, often dubbed the Great War, unfolded from 1914 to 1918 and is recognized as one of the most significant conflicts in history due to its global scale and the introduction of modern warfare techniques. It involved many of the world's great powers, divided into 2 opposing alliances, the Allies and the Central Powers. The war was triggered by a complex web of nationalistic fervour, imperial ambitions, and entangled alliances, ultimately sparked by the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria. The conflict saw unprecedented levels of carnage and destruction, thanks to the use of trench warfare, chemical weapons, and other innovations in military technology. Casualty figures for World War I are staggering, with estimates of around 17 million deaths and 20 million wounded, making it one of the deadliest conflicts in human history. The war had profound effects on the geopolitical landscape, leading to the collapse of empires, redrawing of borders, and setting the stage for World War II. It also marked significant social and political changes, including revolutions in several of the involved countries and major shifts in public sentiment towards war and nationalism. Second Congo War. The Second Congo War, also known as the Great African War, erupted in 1998 and lasted until 2003, drawing in several African nations and resulting in a devastating impact on the Democratic Republic of the Congo, DRC. The conflict stemmed from a complex mix of political, ethnic, and economic factors, including disputes over control of the DRC's rich mineral resources. This war is often described as the deadliest conflict since World War II, with casualties estimated to be as high as 5.4 million, primarily due to widespread disease and famine that followed the hostilities. The war also led to a massive displacement of populations, with millions of people being forced from their homes. Despite official peace agreements in 2003, intermittent violence and humanitarian crises continue to affect the region, underlying the war's long-lasting and far-reaching consequences.
We spent 2 weeks in prison, then they took away the men. The men were rounded up, and we don't know where they are.
The Second Congo War highlights the intricate linkages between resource wealth, political instability, and ethnic tensions in sparking and sustaining large-scale conflicts. Napoleonic Wars.
Go on! Go on! Don't let him rally!
The Napoleonic Wars, 1803 to 1815, were a series of major conflicts pitting the French Empire and its allies, led by Napoleon Bonaparte, against a fluctuating array of European powers formed into various coalitions. They were fundamentally rooted in the aftermath of the French Revolution and the profound changes it brought to the political landscape of Europe. Napoleon's ambitions for European domination led to widespread warfare that affected many countries across the continent and beyond. The campaigns were marked by significant military innovations and the mobilization of national resources on an unprecedented scale. The human cost of the Napoleonic Wars was enormous, with casualties estimated to be between 3.5 to 6 million people. These conflicts transformed European politics, leading to the eventual downfall of Napoleon, the restoration of the Bourbon monarchy in France, and the reorganization of European territories at the Congress of Vienna. This reshaping of borders and the balance of power set the stage for future international conflicts in the 19th and 20th centuries. The Napoleonic Wars also spurred significant developments in military tactics, nationalism, and the codification of laws, influencing the modern world in numerous ways. World War II.
It is difficult to track down one single event that sparked the conflict, for ultimately it was a series of events that conspired together to eventually light the flame of war.
The world's most hated treaty, the Treaty of Versailles, thus starting World War II in 1939.
World War II from 1939 to 1945 stands as the most catastrophic conflict in history, involving over 30 countries and resulting in an unprecedented level of destruction. Sparked by the aggressive expansionist policies of Nazi Germany, Fascist Italy, and Imperial Japan. The war saw the Allies, led by the United States, the Soviet Union, and the United Kingdom, fighting against the Axis powers. The conflict introduced the world to the horrors of the Holocaust, the first use of nuclear weapons, and the concept of total war, which blurred the lines between combatants and civilians. The human cost was immense, with estimates of total casualties ranging from 70 to 85 million people, including millions of civilians who perished from bombings, massacres, starvation, and genocide. World War II dramatically altered the global political landscape, leading to the emergence of the United States and the Soviet Union as superpowers and setting the stage for the Cold War. The aftermath of the war also spurred the creation of the United Nations, aimed at preventing such a devastating conflict from occurring again. Thank you for joining us on this historical journey. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more insightful content. Until next time, keep exploring the tapestry of history.